Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaye Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Asti bhati priyam rupam
Asti bhati priyam rupam
Kamachetyam shapanchakam
Namachetyam panchakam
Adhyatrayam brahma rupam
Brahmarupam
Jagad rupam tatudvayam
Jagat-rupam Chaturdhayam
Avavyagniर्jalor vishu
Jalorvishu
Devatiryang naradishu
Devatiryam Naradishu
Abhinna Satchidanandaha
Abhinnas Satchidananda
Chidanandaha
Vidhyete Rupanamani
Vidyete Rupanamani
Upekshanama Rupe Dve
Upekshanama Rupedve
Satchidananda Tatparaha
Satchidananda Tatparaha
Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat
Samadhim Sarvada Kuryat
Hridaye Vavat Bhatavabahi
Hridaye Vatavavahi
Adhyatrayam Brahma Rupam. These three, Asti Bhati Priyam, Satchid Anandam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, they all indicate only one, Brahma. Brahman is, so all these three really coalesce into one word. Satyam is Jnanam, Jnanam is Anantam, Anantam is Satyam, Anantam or Anandam, Anantam is Jnanam, Satyam. So it really comes back to saying Brahman and Nama Rupa. They are not two, not three, only Brahman. But we have to deal with this Jagat and understand the Jagat, understand the nature of the Jagat. So, while we see any object, we can see just the object. We can see the Vyavaharika nature of the object. Or in and through all this, we can see the Akhanda Avyaya Brahman. I. This Angavastram is what? A fabric. So is the shirt, so is the t-shirt, so is the trousers or sari or whatever. It's just a fabric. But we distinguish them separately as Angavastram and shirt and t-shirt and handkerchief and whatever else. This Nama Rupa of the same fabric, which is the Atma of all of these. When we see this Angavastram, we see the shirt, we see the Veshti. We see Veshti, but we also see fabric. It's not that the Veshti disappears because I see fabric. Veshti is still there. Angavastram is still there. I'm taking examples of Veshti and Angavastram and Kerchief because there's nothing else, just same this. Otherwise, everything is cut and stitched and so on. Maybe that is why sannyasis are not supposed to wear stitched clothes. So you can use some examples saying this is. That is the Atma, the fabric. Now you have many fabrics. All fabrics, when you see the fabric, can we see the yarn? If you're a textile engineer, if you're working in a textile mill, you will see. Otherwise, we don't. We go to the shop and see the fabric. But what does somebody who understands yarn see? In this width of fabric, there are 3,600 yarn. There are warp and weft. So he sees, while he sees the fabric, he also sees the yarn. And like I said, if he's a textile engineer, he doesn't stop there. The yarn is the Atma for all the fabrics. He says this is a cotton yarn, cotton fiber. This is Egyptian cotton, long staple cotton, waste cotton. That cotton becomes the Atma for the yarn also. All these are only Namarupa. Each one is a Namarupa. Variety of Namarupa, all based on one Atma. The entire Jagat, he says, anything you take in the Jagat has its Pancha Amsha, Asti Bhati Priyam, Rupam and Nama. So you see a mountain, it is Brahma Rupa Asti Bhati Priyam plus a Nama Rupa called mountain. You see a tiger, it is Asti Bhati Priyam Rupa, Brahma Rupa plus Nama Rupa. This Nama Rupa is what seems to give the variety. The same fabric with different Rupa and different Nama and different function makes it into a handkerchief, a Veshti, a Angavastram. Namarupa. Otherwise, they're only one. It's only fabric. So the variety that we see in the world, and it looks like completely different. A mountain is different from a living thing. Amongst the living thing, a goat is different from an elephant. Even among elephants, there's an African elephant and an Asian elephant. And that is different from Manushya. And then we come to Manushya, there is no end of differences. Every one of the 8.5 billion people in the world seem to be different. But what is Manushya? What is elephant? What is a goat? What is a snake? What is a mountain? Nothing but Asti Bhati Priyam Brahma Rupam plus Nama Rupam. Can one see the Samatvam in this? When you read that verse in the Gita, it can be confusing. How does a Pandita see the same in another Pandita and a Shvapaka, a dog eater? How can they be the same? Because they are all nothing but Asti Bhati Priyam Brahma Rupam. So one penetrates into the veil of differences. Ignoring the differences. And seeing what is really the commonality. What is the Satyam? What is the Atma? Adhyatrayam Brahma Rupam Jagat Rupam Tato Dvayam. That is what is called the Jagat, that Dvayam is what creates the Jagat, what seems to create apparent Jagat, which have so many varieties, differences, multiplicities. In the next Sloka, the author makes it very clear. Kam Vayu Agni Jala Urvi Kavav Yagnir Jalor Vishu. In all of them, Saptami Bhojanam. Kam is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala or Apaha, Urvi is Prithvi. Prithvi, Earth has so many words in Sanskrit for Earth. Urvi is one of them. In all of them, and not only that, Deva Tiryang Naradishu. Deva, Tiryang is animal, Nara, Manushya, Adishu, and so many unknowns among all of them. Abhinna Satchidanandaha. That Satchidananda, which has been describing the previous verses, Asti Bhati Priyam, is common, indivisible, undivided, akhanda. What seems to give the difference? Vidyete Rupanamani. What seems to create the apparent difference between a handkerchief and an angavastram and a veshti is only Nama, Rupa and function, with no substance whatsoever. In all of them, if you remove the substance, which is the Atma, which is fabric in this case, there is no veshti, there is no angavastram, there is no handkerchief. So, in the 5 bhutas, Kam, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi, there is only Brahma Rupa Satchidananda. And a little bit deeper thinking that Satchidananda is I am Akasha. No. Akasha is I. Vayu is I. Agni is I. Apaha is I. Prithvi is I have nothing to do with it. All elements and elementals of which this entire Jagat is created. The entire Jagat of Thula Sukshma Sharira. Living things, non-living things. Tangible things, intangible things. Small things, big things. Things which are nearby, things which are far away. Known things, unknown things. Everything is created only from these five bhutas. Initially in their sukshma form and later on in their sthula form. Dust unto dust. This he makes very clear. When you say Jagat, it includes not only what you know on this earth, it includes all that you don't know on this earth. You meaning the entire humanity. And what you know in other than the earth, in the cosmos, and what we don't know in the cosmos. Everything is inclusive. Simply put, he says, all devas, inclusive, are only nama rupa. Why are devas? We sometimes think of devas as superior beings. But devas, animals, manushya, they're all the same. They all have sthula sukshma sharira created from the panchabhutas. They're all anitya. They all have a beginning and an end. Every loka they reside in also has a beginning and an end. Devas are superior for sure. They have certain attributes which Manushya may not have. Even among Manushyas, the word is not there, Manushyah, there are differences. There are people and people, some qualities that others don't have, others have, I may not have. Attributes others may have, I may not have. But in essence, we are all the same. Deva Tiryang Naradishu. Amongst the Panchabhutas and everything else that's formed from the Panchabhutas, elements and elementals, and whatever is derived from them, and all living things, plants, animals, devas, manushya, and anything else that we don't know, insects, reptiles. The whole living thing that we know is divided into Three types. Those born of eggs, andaja. That includes all pakshi, reptiles, insects, all of which lay eggs. Pakshi pannagadishu. Then there are mammals, jarayuja, born straight away. All mammals. And then there are shvetaja. Shvetaja are those which are dependent upon certain minimalistic range of temperatures and other conditions. All the entire animal kingdom Tiryang is the word used. Tiryang means that which grows horizontally. All animals. According to some theory, we also grew horizontally at one time. But Tiryang refers to animals which grow horizontally, typically four-footed animals. Whether you're a deva or an animal or a plant, Vetaja, or Manushya, or any of the unknown varieties, even on the earth, in the sky, underwater, on the earth. Somebody asked the other day, if all jivas after death of the body continue to exist and find another body, that means there are only limited number of jivas. They go round and round. And if we extend that logic, one who has found mukti with a jnani gets out of this, so that number should reduce. So if today we are 8.5 billion people, 100 years ago we were only 4 billion people. Where did the extra come from? There are also jiva. Where did the extra jiva come from? In fact, it should reduce, no? Because some jivas would have found mukti. Jivas don't include only human jivas. If there are 8.5 billion humans that we know of, there are probably trillions and trillions and trillions of species. Animals, trees, insects, larvae, amoeba, viruses that we don't even know and we keep discovering. Not to talk of other lokas that Vedas talk about and the jivas in those lokas. Even for Manushya, they say, if you do upasana on Indra, you could become Indra. Or at least you could go to Indra Loka, you may not become Indra. There are descriptions of other lokas in Mahabharata also, where Arjuna went to some Patal Loka. And so there are so many jivas which you don't know. So the number of jivas is not limited to what number that we know, which is 8.5 billion today. Now we know where the extra numbers came from. They're all there. Nothing came new. So Deva, Tiryang, Naraha. Among all of them, all living things, and among all Panchabhuta and their derivatives, Satchidananda is Abhinna. There is only one Satchidananda Brahman. Swami G, that fellow I know is a Dushta Purusha. He's been causing me a lot of harm. Are you telling me he's like me? He is me? Yes. That Dushtatvam is not him. That Dushtatvam is an attribute. And that attribute does not belong to Satchidananda Brahman. You remember the example of Devadatta, Soyam Devadatta. This Devadatta is the same Devadatta I knew 20 years ago. This Devadatta doesn't look like, feel like, talk like, behave like the Devadatta I knew. All these are attributes. Then, time, and there, place, and all these attributes are negatable. Vadita. When you can negate them and see, oh, that fellow only. I couldn't recognize him. Because physically he doesn't look the same. He doesn't talk the same. He doesn't have the same attitude to things. At that time, he was a rabid communist. Today, he runs his own business, very successful business. Developed a big Madhya Pradesh, where he was a skinny little fellow at that time. And yet, you say, Soyam Devadatta, Saha Ayam Devadatta. What do? You only say, I recognize these as not the real Devadatta. These as attributes which are subject to change. And I still recognize Devadatta. Very difficult, no? How can you say that this fellow who is such a bad fellow, I am the same as him? The attributes are not the same. The attributes also will change. Some incident in his life, that Dushta will become a great religious bhakta. But in all of them, Abhinna Satchidananda. There are prayers where you pray not only for yourself, you pray for all others who have in any way had contact with you, with this Jio which you call you. In that prayer, one can safely add friends, relatives, acquaintances, people known to me, unknown to me, people who are friendly to me and people who are inimical to me, people who are indifferent to me. One could pray for all of them. That kind of prayer is possible only when one can see this aikyam. There is only one Satchidananda Brahman. That I am. Therefore, the Dushta Purusha also is I. Abhinna Satchidanandaha. What causes the difference? Vidyete Rupanamani, Nama Rupa. Every wave, every wavelet, every pena in a home, every surf, every tsunami, every breaker, all different names and different shapes and sizes and do different things. A nice surf gives opportunity for pleasure of surfing. A tsunami causes destruction. But they're all the same. They're all water. Can I see water? That doesn't mean that if there's a tsunami coming, you go and say that it's only water. From a Vyavaharika perspective, they are different. Same way, that Dushta Purusha is non-separate from I. But that doesn't mean that you have to submit yourself to the Dushta Purusha to do what he wants. From a Vyavaharika perspective. This is only when you can raise yourself to seeing the oneness. Akhandatvam. Ekameva advitiyam. Despite the differences, despite the dushtatvam, despite the sadhutvam, despite the dvaitam, I see advaitam. Advaitam does not mean dvaitam disappears. It is there. I see the dvaitam and in and through I see advaitam. I see the tsunami and I see a benign surf, but in both I see water. I don't have to go searching for water. It's a big magnifying glass. I don't have to go searching for gold in that shop which has only golden ornaments. It is there. I only have to see it. It is self-revealing. I only blinker myself. Layers of ajnanam. Then I have to see that abhinna Satchidananda Atma is I. I start looking for another means of knowledge. Special glasses to go and look for that. Hey, no, it is I. You don't have to go anywhere. All these varieties, vidyete, rupanamani. How do I see this? Earlier he said, because the avarana shakti, you see don't see the difference between sakshi and the drishyam. You don't see the difference between Brahman and the Jagat. When that avarana is destroyed, through understanding only, avarana is ajnana. Through understanding, that is removed. That's why it is said, in this gaining the jnanam, there's nothing new you are gaining. It is simply ajnana nivritti. Remove layer after layer of ajnanam. To see in that angavastram fabric, in that fabric the yarn, in that yarn the fiber, in that fiber whatever constitutes the fiber. And in all of them, that Satchidananda Brahman, I. All these differences will continue to exist. They are not going to go away anywhere. I only have to change my perspective through jnanam. Abhinna Satchidanandaha vidyete rupa namani. That rupa and nama, which superimposed on that Brahman appears to create this vast variety, which can neither be dismissed as non-existing variety, nor accepted for what it is, for it being as real differences. Neither of them. Therefore, all of them have to fall into a category which is neither real nor dismissible, anirvachaniya. So when I see a scorpion, it is Brahman plus a Nama Rupa called scorpion. When I see a beautiful sunrise, I see Brahman plus Nama Rupa called sunrise. That Nama Rupa, one has to understand, is insubstantial. Has no substance, cannot exist without the Brahman, the invariable Brahman in everything. That Brahman is I. And this is revealed by getting rid of the avarana. That's what he said earlier, no? That the difference between Sakshi and Dṛśya becomes clear when the avarana is removed. The veil of ignorance. The difference between Brahman and the Jagat is revealed. When avarana is removed. You very easily said you remove. How do I remove? Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. There is no other way. Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayanaya. You've seen this. Atma vare shrotavyam. Atma vare mantavyam. Nididhasitavyam. Atma has to be known only through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. This ajnanam we keep talking about is not a one-time ajnanam. I always thought 1 plus 1 is 11 till somebody taught me correctly. That is gone. That ajnanam is gone. Because you draw one and you draw another, and then read it as 11. And somebody taught me that that's not the right thing to do. That ajnanam is gone once for all. But this ajnanam that I have is not today's ajnanam. It is today's ajnanam, but it's not only today's ajnanam. It's an ajnanam I was born with. So if I'm now 70 years old, I have 70 years of ajnanam accumulated, reinforced. Not only that 70 years. It is ajnanam that's come from way behind. Janma after janma after janma after janma. If I didn't have the ajnanam, I won't have a janma. The fact that I have so many janmas, my ajnanam has been coming through all the time. It is so strong. That orientation is so strong that even when, with a lot of shraddha, I go to a guru and study and he says, Tattvamasi. The words make a lot of sense. I can't accept it. I may want to accept it, but when I go back after the class, I'm back where I started. That ajnanam is so entrenched, so deeply entrenched, that if I do Shravanam one time, I'm a very intelligent person. I have Shraddha. The Guru is extremely good. He's able to teach very well. I spent 1 full hour with the Guru after doing a prayer. I should have understood. And yet, I continue to be an ajnani. Okay, I will attend 1 more class and see. Maybe a 3rd, maybe a 4th. I continue to remain ajnani. Hey, this ajnanam, you want to remove in 1 class. How many generations have you carried this ajnanam? How are you going to remove in 1 class? Repeated Shravanam with Shraddha backing. That Shravanam is only the Anga. It has to be followed by contemplative thinking, Mananam. I have accumulated so many notions in my head. I have, for example, very clearly understood that only what I see is true. What I cannot see, I don't accept. It is like, if you're traveling by car and you're going up the slope, you don't see anything coming on the front because you're going up the slope. And that fellow says, I only accept what I see. I don't see anything coming on that side. So I'm going to travel on that side. That side of the road. What do you think will happen to him? Boom. But that's entrenched in my head. I accept only this lifetime because this lifetime I can see. I don't know what was before. I don't know what was after. I don't accept. So many notions I have stuffed in my head. Conclusions that I have drawn, they become my conclusions and I don't want to give them up. I'm trying to find all kinds of arguments for why I'm right. One goes to a guru only when one feels that there is something to know. Even if it contradicts whatever conclusions I have drawn. I'm an intelligent, analytical, logical person. I have drawn these conclusions. They have to be correct. So Shraddha, repeated Shravanam, and its Angi. What is the Angi of Shravanam? Mananam and Nididhyasanam. This process of Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasanam is what is going to help remove the avarana, the veil of ignorance, the web of magic created by Maya. And this entrenched ajnanam that I have, I can only remove by getting into the dhyanam mode. After doing Shravanam, after doing Mananam, which will remove some of the doubts, some of the cross that I get into my head. After doing all that, one gets into a mode of Nididhyasana, jhana, or samadhi. That samadhi is what? Focused, concentrated thinking, ekagrita, chitta ekagrita, focus on a single topic for a length of time. That practice called jhanam or samadhi. So the author assumes that after doing all these 20 odd verses and extensive Shravanam and Mananam, the sadhaka can take the next steps. Upeksha nama rupe dve Satchidananda tatparaha samadhim sarvada kuryat hridaye va athava bahihi. Samadhi is what? Samahita buddhi, focused mind. Samyak ahita buddhi. How long do I do this? Till, like the student in our Kenopanishad we saw, who said, I can neither say I know, nor can I say I don't know. This adhyasa, superimposition, the ajnanam that we have, that deeply entrenched ajnanam has to be slowly chipped away through this process of dhyanam. Therefore he says, Upeksha dve nama rupe. Can you see and be able to ignore, eliminate Nama Rupa, and look inside. Inside is not a good word in this context. Focused on, devoted to Satchidananda Tatparaha. What is Tatparaha? Tat is everything. Tvam is you. That everything is you. That everything is Satchidananda, I. I see a wave, and I see only a wave. And I decide this wave is not good enough for surfing. But if I touch that wave, I can legitimately claim I touched the ocean. I went to the beach, touched the wave, came back and told everybody I touched the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. Correct statement. But tat paraha, when I can see the water in every wave, in every ocean, when I can see the fabric in every type of cloth, the veshti, anga, vastram, whatever else. And in that variety of fabric, I can see all the yarn. And in that, I can see all the fibers. And eventually, in all of them, I see myself, Brahman. In all stages, I remove Nama Rupa. I ignore Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa Upekshya. Having eliminated the idea of Nama Rupa. Being indifferent to the Nama Rupa. It's still there, not going away. Being indifferent to the Nama Rupa. Satchidananda Tatparaha. I focus, I concentrate on Satchidananda. That kind of focus, he says, Samadhim Sarvada Kurya. Always be in the state of focus on Satchidananda Tatparaha. In and through everything you see, you cognize Brahman, I. In the state of Samadhi. Even when I'm awake, even when I am interacting with this Jagat in the waking state, I am still able to see through all of them and I see only Satchidananda Tatparaha. Hridaye va athava bahihi. He splits that into two. Either within oneself, in the heart, Hridaye, meaning the locus of that Brahman knowledge, or externally. Everything I see only Brahman. Very beautifully is brought to this level. Beyond this, to me, it looks like the rest of it has been written by a different person. Up to this, so much of profundity in this, so much of learning. Beyond this, it goes into hair-splitting differences. which we will look at in next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.